Recently, my YouTube algorithm has been suggesting these right wingy, dog whistly type of pods where it's like, let's talk about history. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. When things things were better for the white man. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. And when you're almost offended by the algorithm, you're like, I cannot believe you would think I like this type of shit. What are you thinking? And you're like, I might just have a quick click just to double check that, this is as egregious as I thought it would be. You find yourself kind of like dabbling and like spreading out, like looking over your shoulder, being like, maybe I should get a VPN for this. But anyway, I find a lot of it tedious because the dog whistle aspect of it, just the way things inevitably always lead back to kind of like culture war or race or culture type of stuff where it's like, oh, okay, I get it. Like, even if it's true, I don't want to talk about it the whole time. Like if you're, all these white guys creating all these podcasts, if you're so fucking superior, well, why do you have to keep going on about it all the time? Like, aren't you a fucking Ubermensch, brah? But anyway, this dude, he's an Australian fella, and he creates these YouTube videos where he analyzes ancient history and talks about what we've lost from the past. And he, in one of his videos, I don't even recall what the main thing was, the main topic, but he shared this anecdote about how the ancient Greeks pre Aristotle were obsessed with looks, and being a beautiful specimen was the height of everything according to these ancient Greeks. Like they created the gymnasium, and all the uh, Greek statues and everything. It was all about having a fucking ripped bod, and they essentially equated beauty with living a good life. Then Aristotle came along, and he was like, no, it's about intellect and reason. And that corrupted the idea. And there was this like the changing of the guard. And that's how Greek philosophy was born. And there's like some digs at Aristotle where they're like, yeah, he's an, of course you'd say that, you ugly fucker. Like he had a face like a slapped ass, apparently, which maybe I'd heard before, but I just don't pay attention when they're talking about old fuckers, essentially. And so anyway, got me thinking, it's like that's kind of happening to this day, because in the YouTube comments for this particular video, I think they were talking about Friedrich Nietzsche. That was the topic of the video, how he used some of those ideas with his inflammatory dog whistly right wing stuff a few hundred years later. But people in the comments were saying, yeah, it's true. Like I work really hard on my body, and didn't pay attention in school. But when I walk into a job interview, people check out my fucking delts, and they're like, damn, if this bra can take care of his delts and his traps with such dedication and precision, he sure as hell is going to be able to figure out these fucking spreadsheets. It'd be simple compared to the work he's put into himself. And yeah, basically just the go to the gym and lift meme condensed is kind of the takeaway here, that yeah, it doesn't matter what you learn, or more just like work on your, be the best version of yourself physically, and then the rest will take care of itself, is what people are like suggesting. So it's interesting that argument is still going on. When I was growing up in the 90s, the nerds were winning, where it was like, no, you've got to get an education, and like everyone in the gym was considered a meathead. But now the nerds have gone to the gym as well, and they're like crushing it because they can apply that critical thinking to how they're gonna like make gains. And so anyway, it's a fucking mixed up, topsy turvy world, and everything's so visual now because of the mobile phones and all that. But I was also wondering, is there like a third option where like there's the pursuit of cool? And my initial impulse was that like cool has got to be a relatively new phenomenon. Um, where it's like, yeah, you would imagine that like it would have to be after the agricultural revolution and like when there's a bit of excess food lying around, then you can kind of like talk about how long you should wear your pants. Prior to that, it's more just like, let's get some fucking calories in us, lads, before we start talking about whether you can wear fucking overalls in September. But I think that cool would have been around because it would have been like an Aragorn type of figure, some dude who looked cool on a horse. And for me, I think it kind of sits in between uh hot and smart, the cool paradigm, because take fucking old mate Aragorn, for instance. Cool. He would have looked cool on a horse because he would have looked natural. Like he would have found his thing. And that's why it would have looked effortless and easy for him, because it was like, oh, he's found who he is. So that's kind of like, if I have to dig into like what is the meaning behind cool, it's kind of that's really it. It's kind of like finding something that fits you perfectly, fits you like a glove. And Aragorn can look fucking sick as fuck on his battle horse, and so can a dude you know, who's less conventionally attractive, who's fucking well good at pottery or something. He can look cool when he's doing his Patrick Swayze in Ghost, when he's like tuning Demi Moore, making the pottery, because he's got the perfect, he understands the form of the pottery and blah blah blah. So he looks cool. So I reckon it would have always been around to a certain degree, but definitely exacerbated in modern times. How you can elevate yourself if you present yourself as a cool guy. So what are you trying to do? Where are you fucking putting your chips on the roulette table? What are the pros and cons of each? Hot, I guess hot, it's as you get older, it's difficult to stay hot. Some people are genetically blessed, they're gonna look really fucking good their entire lives, but it's difficult. Look at that fucking Brian Johnson cunt, not the ACDC dude, the one who looks like a lesbian, but he's apparently got the blood of a 19-year-old football player. That dude, where he's doing everything possible and he still looks like shit with soy sauce in his hair, not trying to hide the grays. So that's tough. And I guess you can, remain sexually viable for your entire life if you take care of yourself and you're blessed genetically. But then I don't know, is that kind of a bit pathetic? Just like putting all your especially like maybe when you're in your kind of like under the age of 40 or something, the fucking breeding time, where it's like, yeah, this is the right time for you to find a partner and make a baby. Sure, look hot then. But beyond that, if you're so obsessed with remaining hot, isn't it a bit pathetic? It's like, surely by this point you've been laden. Like, have you had enough validation yet? So I think that's the pro for hot, is that like, yeah, if you take care of yourself and you're hot when you're younger, you'll have fantastic opportunities to roll around in the hay with whoever you want. But then you get to a certain point and maybe your life will just seem completely you will appear pretty vapid to other people. You still probably get laid, but they'll probably think of you as a bit of a fucking moron if you've just put all your chips in that basket. Smart, um, yeah, that's kind of the yeah, it popped into my head where I was thinking this debate is still happening because of all those YouTube comments, and then there's the infamous quote in Fight Club where the unnamed narrator is talking, rattling off some fact, and yeah, Brad Pitt is like, "Oh, you think you're smart? You're a smart guy. How's that working out for you?" And that's pretty fucking true. You see people who, try and fucking learn as much as they possibly can, and there's that like paralysis by analysis type of thing where the more the more you see, the less you know. Thanks, Bono. Could have never figured that out by myself, but it's true. You can kind of really, really smarty pants guys can just confuse themselves because they've read too much shit. So that's the but then also you can kind of like I generally find that the smartest guys are people who learn from other people's mistakes. So they'll make mistakes of their own, but they'll be pretty unique mistakes. Um so yeah, I think that smart people who do that generally crush life. But a lot of smarty pants just kind of are bookworms. And then cool. What's the pros and cons for cool? Yeah, you don't want to be Fonzie at the milk bar when you're 55. You can kind of you can look a bit fucking ridiculous. Even the there is like an effortless growing older type of cool, like an Anthony Bourdain type of cool, where it's like, I'm not sure how you're doing it, bro, but you've still got it. I don't know what it is, but you've got it. For those guys, it's great. You know, those guys where it's just like women want to be with them, uh, guys want to be them. That's cool. But I don't know. Cool generally looks better on people in their 20s. As you get older, even if it's like someone, have you ever met someone who's like 39 years old? They're still wearing cool stuff. They have cool gadgets. I swear someone wrote like an article about this where it's like there's a cool guy in the advertising industry and there's a certain type of stereotype of who they are. They've got like a cool surfboard, they've got a cool mountain bike, they've got cool art on the wall. And you like there's all these people there's these people and they're actually pleasant to talk with to a certain degree. They're you know, they're relatively affable and like ask you good questions and stuff. And it's like with those people who are cool as they get older, it's like, all right, I've got my checklist here and you're ticking all the boxes, yet for some reason it's just still a fucking nothing burger. You've lost, you know, you should be cool, but you're not because you're fucking 39. Like if you were 29 and you're a similar type of person, then for sure you'd be crushing the coolness. But there's something about you. You've studied this. You used to be cool. You pay attention to culture. You know what's going on, but yet you've lost it. So I think that's the issue there. If you put all your chips in the cool basket, is that even if you are self-aware and culturally aware, you're gonna fucking lose it unless you're the fucking diamond in the rough, Anthony Bourdain type of geezer. So that's the pros and cons. Fucking choose your adventure wisely, folks. Ultimately, you can you know, like the boring kind of what Buddha would say, because Buddha, he recommended the middle path after he fucking starved himself. The Buddha, as far as I understand, he went like in extremes, and then he's like, that was crazy. Comes back with like as a fucking skeleton out of the forest, just demanding KFC. He's like, guys, don't do that. That sucked. But I think the issue there is that if you go like, yeah, I'll just take a bit of this, bit of that, bit of the other one, then you kind of stand for nothing. You're just like, yeah, you tried to be a little bit cool, a little bit hot, and a little bit smart, and you're fucking you're a retarded, ugly loser because you didn't kind of double down on the right one. So I think it's more about picking the right one for you at the right stage of life. But yeah, anyway, you get the idea. Thanks for listening. Catch you on the next one. Bye.